Hello,
How's it
and
going?
welcome to the Unfazed Review podcast. Welcome to the Uncharted 4 Thieves' End podcast, to be more precise. Now, I know for you gamers out there who are religious about it, that's an older game, but still one of our favorites. And actually, the first time Emmett has played it is tonight. So we're having some stogies, we're having some drinks, and we're having a good time playing Uncharted 4, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, I remember my
Light this bad boy.
my high school girlfriend had a PS3, and I didn't have a PS3. I didn't have any of the PlayStations. I went the route of Xbox, as many of you know. And so, yeah, one of the main things I did over at her place was binge all the Uncharted games. I played 1, 2, and 3. And I remember when 4 came out, I was really excited, and I really, really wanted to play it. But I just, again, I didn't have any PlayStations, and it came out at a time when I was, like, moving and going to, like, I just started going to a university, so it was, like, a lot happened, and I missed it. But I've been playing a good deal of it at Ben's tonight, and it's, God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude. And I gotta say, props to the guys at Naughty Dog, because, I know a lot of you guys get pissed off at me about this, but I was not a huge fan of The Last of Us. I own the first one. I've played it. I appreciate it for what it is, but I'm just a much, much bigger Uncharted fan. I love Nathan Drake. I love Samuel Drake. I love Sully. I love Victor Sullivan. I just love the whole world that they created. And to each their own. I know there's some of you out there who absolutely adore The Last of Us, and that's cool. It's a very well-crafted game. But I'm just more about the adventure and the excitement of Uncharted.
Yeah.
And personally, in terms of games of the last 10 years, I think Uncharted and Tomb Raider are my favorite.
Yeah, same. I was just saying it while I was playing it. I didn't understand why The Last of Us was generated so much more buzz than any of the Uncharted games. I know the Uncharted games are big, but I feel like anytime there's like news about The Last of Us, it's fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And I feel like Uncharted is just a better game. I don't know. Again, mechanics and stuff, I can't really talk on. But it's really the like character-driven plots, stories, and how cinematic they are.
Yeah.
That makes it great for me.
Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out what this light is on the screen. I feel like I see a light between our...
Oh, that's weird.
Oh, is it the bottle? Am I retarded?
Oh, it's the bottle, yeah.
Sorry for using the word retarded, guys. I don't mean that against people who are mentally challenged. It's just it's an early 2000s term that we use, and I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just something we say, It's like,
It is something we say.
It's like calling someone. It's like saying something's gay. Like you used to say that a long time ago. Like, that's, like in junior high, you'd be like, that's gay. It's nothing against gay people. It's just something that people commonly said.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with gays, yeah.
Yeah. So
Bill Burr even talked about that. He's like, you say gay, it has nothing to do with people being gay.
Yes, and I know people nowadays are so sensitive, and I get it. But that's not our intention. It's just the way we speak sometimes.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're working on it, but we're not perfect.
Yeah. Oh, and 2, I just drew this parallel. I know Last of Us 2 didn't do as well because it had a bit of an agenda maybe, and I think that agenda...
I didn't play the sort of number 2. Tell me about number 2.
I just know there's like they immediately kill off the most beloved character in like a stupid way, and there's like a big butch lesbian character that comes in.
Classic.
There's like lots of lesbian sex and stuff, I guess.
Really, lesbian sex?
And yeah, I don't know, maybe. I think so. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I really know nothing about the game. I don't really care about the game. But you had said the most recent Uncharted Lost World or some shit. What was it called?
I think Uncharted, not Lost Legends. Uncharted.
Anyway, it was something like that.
It was like Lost Legends.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Like let me double check.
That one was up against the same scrutiny because it was like, ooh, it was female.
I really enjoyed it.
But you said it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Lost Legends. Yeah, they did a really good job. I'm sorry, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. My apologies. They did a really good job. I thought it was gonna fall victim to the same pitfalls that the game that you're talking about did. The second Last of Us. But it didn't, man. Even having 2 female leads, it felt organic. They did a pretty darn good job, and they had other supporting characters who were very welcome, like Sam. Spoiler alert. And they did a really good job, and it kind of fell into the same vein as like Shadow of the Tomb Raider or something like that, Where when you're playing it, you're not focused on, oh, I'm playing as a girl. Like, you're focused on a really good story, and you're focused on really, in my mind, well fleshed out characters.
Yeah.
So they did a good job there, and I have nothing bad to say about that game. That game was a welcome addition to the Uncharted family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
So it just depends on the writers, and it depends on the creative team behind it. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
It's just like anything. It's like the example you used a million times that I think is so good and so appropriate is Ripley and Alien.
Yeah, all right, thanks, yeah.
And it's like, my thing is, same thing with Sarah Connor in the first Terminator. It totally fits. You're not focused on, oh, she's a woman. It's like, no. It's like, she's, the mother of the savior of the resistance.
Right. Yeah.
And she's trying to be killed because she's going to give birth to John Connor.
Yeah.
And it's like, everything fits. Everything's part of the story. It's not like they're throwing her in because, we need a strong female lead. It's like, no. She's a huge component of the story, and everything surrounding why the Terminator is hunting her makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not just because Linda Hamilton's a woman and we need to throw her in. It's because she is an actress who is portraying a character that's hugely significant to the story.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like, that's, I think, where things get a little muddled.
As long as they're well written and them being female makes sense, then it's fine.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. It's just when there's... Because I know how it looks. It's like, oh, two guys puffing on a cigar, hating on the women. We're not hating on women at all. I just hate on them being thrown in into situations that don't make any sense.
And I think, yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
And like the other thing I always mention about Alien is that those roles were written gender neutral because they didn't know
100%.
who they were going to get, and so that worked in that case. Like they're just in that situation. It's very bare bones. They're just people trying to survive.
Yeah.
Whereas, George Lucas made a good point in some interview with him where he says, men and women are just different in a lot of fundamental ways. Like, I'm sorry. He said, men are much more adventurous and women are much more democratic. And that's very, very true. Like,
Yeah.
and he wouldn't write the character of Luke as a girl. That's just not how women think.
And my thing is, it's like, I know a lot of you out there who are detractors or who might dislike what we're saying. I hear you. It's like, there are exceptions. There are the odd man out, or in your case, the odd woman out, or the odd them out, whatever the fuck you want to be called. Frankly, I don't care. Do what you want to do. But in general, the vast majority, in most cases, tend to behave a certain way, and that's why they're written a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's so blatantly obvious when you have a Mary Sue character like Ray who comes in who doesn't really fit. And I think that's why it's so noticeable why she doesn't fit, because she's kind of going against the archetype,
We're all just like objectively geared towards certain things. There was that.
100%.
Remember when the toys being gender neutral was really big, and someone didn't
Furby?
Yeah, right. Where like they'd put all the toys used to be gendered. Like there'd be a women's or like a girl's aisle and a men's aisle, and like 5 boys aisles.
You still see that at Target.
Yeah, but for a while I don't know
sucks.
if it was Target or some other place that tried to like put them all together.
Yeah.
And someone did an experiment with that. Everyone always obviously thought that, boys and girls, or maybe the boys are going to get a doll, or maybe the girl's going to get a monster truck. You don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think I know.
Lo and behold, without being told which one to take or being directed towards one or the other, men chose trucks and G.I. Joes, and women chose Barbie dolls. Like,
100%.
and that's fucking fine. Like,
And my thing is, it's like, here's the crazy thing. I think the older you get, the more accepting you are, and obviously once you get beyond puberty and everything like that, then your mind opens to different things, know, and I think that's cool. You like what you like, you just dislike what you Wait, so I can't even talk. You dislike what you dislike, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but I distinctly remember as a little boy, when I was a child, it's like you're almost more hardwired towards certain things. Mm-hmm. And that could be said for anyone, no matter how you're wired, but me personally, it's like I liked Spider-Man and G.I. Joe and action figures and, toy guns and Nerf guns and stuff like that. And that's just how I was wired. Yeah. And that's what I like. And the majority of boys are like that. And are there other boys out there that are wired differently and they like other things? Okay, let them do their thing. Allow them to do their thing. But don't force it on them unnecessarily.
Yeah.
If there's... here's a crazy thing. I don't know if I ever talked about this before, but I remember in 2nd grade there was a boy in our class who played with Barbies, and he wore lipstick. And he was 100% by today's standards, like, and keep in mind, we're talking about a 7-year-old kid at the time. He was clearly a gay kid. Like, he was clearly very, or what you'd call potentially, transgender or whatever. And at the time, we're just like, oh, that's weird. Eric always plays with the girls and, always plays with Barbies and sucks on them in his mouth. And he was, and in our mind, think about that. You know, I was 7. I was like, he's weird. He's different than us. Never made fun of him or anything like that, but it was just he would go off and play with the girls,
Right.
and that was him, you know?
Yeah.
And I would go off and play with the other boys, and we would go, you know, pretend to be, you know, Spider-Man and stuff. And, like, that's what we did. So it's like, I do think some people are hardwired that way, and that's how they're born. And that kid, you know, he had a tendency to go towards more feminine things. And as he grew up, he, you know, I would assume he went on to be gay or transgender or something like that. Who knows? But I do think that's something that's hardwired in the brain, and that's something that people don't select, you know, and that's fine. You know, I'm not hitting on it, but that's just not who I am.
Yeah.
And it's like he can go off and, you know, do whatever he wants, you know, no problem. But I remember seeing that very early on in my life, where it's like people are hardwired a certain way,
Yeah.
and that's who they are, you know, and that's whatever.
Very true.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. Yeah. But anyway, I do think when you try to force it into the mainstream, it's a little strange, and it kind of feels like you have an agenda. It's like, because like I said, there are kids like that who are hardwired a certain way, and that's who they are. But when you're talking about the majority and you're trying to sway them to be a certain way, it's a little weird. And I think it's a little weird. I think let people make their own decisions based on who they are individually, instead of trying to create some kind of new reality that is fitting into a certain agenda that's politically correct.
It's so hypocritical, because these people are saying like, "Ooh, these are gender stereotypes that are part of society. It's not innate." And then at the same time, they're like practically forcing their like sons to wear dresses. They're like,
Exactly.
"You can be trans if you want it. You can
Exactly.
be feminine if you want."
And my thing is, it's like, yeah, there are kids like that 100%, but I also think there's a bunch of quote-unquote woke parents that are trying to force this shit on kids that don't even know what, you know, anything is.
It was a fad like anything else.
It's a fad, and they're fucking stupid. It's like, my thing is, it's like, if your kid's, you know, 18 years old and an adult and knows what they like and what they want, okay, that's a whole different conversation. But when you're trying to force a 7-year-old boy into a dress and telling him he can be whatever he wants to be, and that includes a girl, is that the healthiest choice?
Yeah.
I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab another lighter, but
Yeah, sure.
take over, brother. Or sister.
I think we're gonna be right back with a commercial. Well, after a commercial break.
Let's do it.
Hello, Raider.
Yes, Santa Houston.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Stupid Atom Smasher.
Baby, I love your way.
Wendy's double.
Make it soup.
Lettuce, tomato.
But just a few.
Skip the mayo.
Extra cheese.
Fresh.
Not frozen. No onions, please.
Show mo. Show mo.
Extra lettuce.
Wendy's fresh.
Not that nasty.
Shredded mess.
I want a single, no a double.
No, a triple with cheese.
Ooh, baby, I love your way.
Extra pickle, my triple.
Ketchup, mustard.
Please.
Your burger. Any way you want it, every way you want it.
Every way.
At Wendy's.
And we're back.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Grab a stogie, grab a drink, whatever you got going.
Yeah.
Join us.
I would love you guys to crack a bun drink if you can. If you are at work or doing something where you cannot drink, or if you do not drink,
Then get a root beer.
get a root beer, get a water, get a Gatorade. I don't care.
We both had some fine root beer earlier today.
Oh, talk about the root beer.
It was really
I think we
good
should talk
root
about
beer.
that and Captain Bill's, because the video is going to be coming up soon.
Yeah, we went to this local establishment, really zany, fun place called Captain Bill's. Primarily they do sub sandwiches, and
Correcto Mundo.
it was really good. I mean, you guys will see. It was so charming. I miss really well-run local establishments, and that's exactly what it was. It was its own thing. It had its own
Yeah.
identity.
I don't know if this is going to come out before. Captain Bill's will probably come out a day or so before this.
Yeah.
But either way, whenever you
You
watch
guys will
this,
see it, yeah.
keep this week. Be aware of it. The Captain Bill's food vlog.
It was really, really.
fantastic.
It was high quality food, but it wasn't like trying too hard. Like it was what it was. It was good.
Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah, you
belching
guys
too.
will see it.
I'm belching too.
The root beer was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Which is fucking hilarious, because who cares
Ultra
about like,
sweet.
ooh, the A&W was fine, but it was extra bubbly and it was extra sweet.
My God, it was amazing.
It was great. It was everything you wanted.
The thing about Captain Bill's, unfiltered here, guys, it feels like a time capsule. And I said this in the
Yeah.
vlog, but like it feels like a time capsule. And I've been going there my entire life. I think the earliest memory I have of Captain Bill's was of these feet hanging out of the ceiling, mannequin legs that had Coca-Cola themed pants. And I think they're in the video. You can actually, I got a shot of them, and that's one of my earliest memories of that place when I was probably like 4 or 5.
It's hilarious.
So I've been going there for a long time. And like I said, it was open, I think, a good 11 or 12 years before I was even born. So that place has been there for a minute.
One of my earliest restaurant memories was Fuddruckers.
I've been to Fuddruckers with you.
Yeah,
We had the bison burger.
Yeah, exactly. The one near me had a big, like, life-size Blues Brothers, like,
love
not
the Blues
mannequins,
Brothers.
but just like a
Statue?
Yeah, statues.
Yeah.
And they always just kind of freaked me out a little bit. But that place was so cool, man.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
You hear that?
Music, I think.
Someone's blasting their... Damn kids blasting their boombox.
Why is music turned into...
I think the more advanced society gets, I think the more shitty and primitive music gets.
Yeah, that's honestly very true. The arts...
Fight me.
The arts fade away. Like, the importance of the arts go away as technology advances. I don't know why that is, but there's a huge correlation there.
Fight me on that. I think there's something about that.
No, you're 100% right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why,
It's sad.
but there's something to it.
Yeah.
Anywho, where were we saying? Captain Bill's, yeah, subs, good food, amazing.
Very good. All right, so if you want to, we could take two paths right now. We could dive deep into the political spectrum, or we could take a look at some of
People seem to really enjoy the political. How about this? Because I don't want to divide you guys too much, because I know everyone has their own opinion, and you're entitled to that, even if it's wrong.
be divided.
And, yeah, I don't care. I believe what you want to believe. But how about we touch on one political thing, your choice of topic, and then we'll go into our plethora of topics.
Okay. I just wanted to briefly mention, because this is there's such a disparity between like all the stuff that Biden promised and all the stuff that Trump did.
Who?
Trump.
I'm just fucking with you.
Trump, I mean, obviously, we've talked about this on, I think, the last podcast, how the media is obviously skewed to the left.
Clearly.
So, when Trump did anything good, obviously the media, like, did not cover it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the good things he did, just right off the bat, that you probably didn't hear about, were that 2 Arab countries were convinced to recognize Israel, thousands of child traffickers were arrested, obviously huge tax cuts and removal of regulations led to the boosting of the economy, which obviously went away after COVID. That wasn't really his fault. Thousands of troops were brought home, and for the first time since President Carter, the USA started no new wars. And he reduced drastically the price of like insulin and other prescription drugs.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of good stuff, and like you didn't hear about any of that. And it's just been funny to me because a lot of the major promises that Biden made that his whole campaign rode on, he immediately retracted as soon as he got into office. And it's like, we should have seen that coming.
You know what I saw that was wild? Sorry to interrupt you, but
go ahead.
to piggyback off what you're saying, correct me on the numbers, guys, if I'm mistaken, but as of the recording date, which is, February 5th? What are we at, February 5th? Yeah. February 6th, something like that?
6, yeah.
February 6th, 2021. Joseph Biden, the current President of the United States, enacted and put into effect 46 different legislations, and they stacked up against every other United States president, and their numbers and the amount of time it took for them to enact certain bills, and he has the most out of any of them. Reagan and I think Carter and it might have been Clinton had around 35 to 45 after like their first 6 to 8 months.
Right.
Biden had an equal amount within his first week and a half to 2 weeks.
Fuck, man.
So that leads me to believe maybe there's some other shit shoved into those bills that they're having the old man sign off on that maybe he hasn't read over, because you got to figure those bills are gigantic.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, who really reads all the fine print?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
when you install an app, do you really go through all the
yeah, and my
stuff?
thing is, it's like you can argue, okay, sure, there's lawyers who are paid to look through that, but when we're talking, the sleaziness on Capitol Hill, those fuckers are probably bought out and paid off, and that you're putting through 45 plus pieces of legislation that are gargantuan. I think old man Biden isn't going over it with a fine-tooth comb. I think they're shoving it in front of him and he's signing off on it. And there's a lot of strange legislation that's being pushed through that has nothing to do with our own common interest. I think it's stuff that has a darker and more kind of financially driven background.
Yeah. And 3 of the big things that his whole campaign wrote on were so first of all, the most recent one was obviously the new stimulus package, which I know Trump tried to make it 2,000, and was it Pelosi that blocked him?
Trump, when he was in office, was pushing for, correct me if I'm wrong, $2,000 in early October of 2020. And he was, you can actually look it up if it's still on the internet, and there were tweets where he was telling Pelosi and other members of Congress to say, hey, let's push this through for the American people, and Pelosi was off on vacation. And
She is a bitch.
And
I
even
hate her.
for you guys out there who hate Trump, you know, that's your opinion, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know, believe what you want to believe, but he, in my opinion, at that point in time, was trying to do a good thing for the American people that Biden said he was going to do as well, and ended up retracting on.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, on the whole campaign trail, it was like $2,000 stimulus checks going right out to the American people as soon as someone else. And obviously,
What's the last thing he said about it? Look it up.
Well, he's retracted it a million times. It went from obviously 2,000 to 1,400 because we already got the 600.
Yeah.
No, so it went to 1,200. I'm sorry, because we already got the 600.
That's a game changer.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, 1,400. So
Yeah.
I know it's again, but that's been getting pushed. Like,
Yeah.
we have. I don't have it. Did you get it?
No.
Yeah, like none of no one has it yet. And then he immediately like distanced himself from BLM.
Yeah.
Remember when all that stuff was hot? He was like tweeting about it.
He was a
constantly.
person of the people.
Yeah, he was. I'm 100% backing BLM,
Yeah.
and then BLM was like fighting to go to some kind of
You're talking about Bureau of Land Management, right?
Yeah, right. Some kind of humanitarians meeting. Like the BLM weren't invited at all, and they'd been like trying to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
When he entered office, he just stopped talking to them. He
Yeah.
used them, guys. He used them.
Yeah.
And then
My thing is talking about actual Black Lives Matter. It's like he was a huge proponent for that when he was on the election trail,
And
then as soon as he gets in office,
when he can actually do something about it,
guess what? He abandons them because he didn't consider it to be a worthy cause in his eyes. I wouldn't even say him, I would say his team saw it as something to rally behind to help him get in office, and then to distance themselves from as soon as they gain power. That's not cool, man.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
The next huge thing, my one thing that I loved about Trump was that he was genuinely trying to get us out of the Middle East, and he was trying to bring the troops back home. He didn't start any new wars.
Totally.
He didn't start any new wars since Carter. And
And people in the comments who are going to argue about Moab and stuff, put yourself in his shoes for a second and look at what he had to do and the pressure the man was under, and all of the advisors, just with any president, not just Trump, but any president. If you look back statistically, Barack Obama dropped more bombs than Donald Trump did.
Yeah.
So if you're going to argue about Moab and him being violent and inciting violence, just go back and look at the statistics, please.
Yeah.
That's all I say. That's all I say.
So yeah, he's immediately starting new wars. There was some White House released, something to the public saying there is evidence of nukes in Afghanistan or something. So we're immediately going back.
Haven't they been saying that since
Yeah,
Bush?
right. Yeah, they say
been
that
saying
so they
that
can
since
go back
Bush.
and get the oil. Yeah.
Weapons of mass destruction.
And he boasted about having a big plan for COVID, and then as soon as he got in, he was like, "We can't do anything about it. Like, we can't reverse the trajectory." So
You're talking about Biden or Trump?
Biden. Yeah, I mean, he was always like, Trump's handling this horribly. If I get in, I'm gonna have a plan, and everything's gonna be great. And as soon as he gets in, he's like,
What's the
we
plan,
can't do
Joe?
it." And of course, him and everyone who supports him is gonna be like, "Oh, well, it was Trump's fault that it got so bad, and now Biden can't do anything." No, he lied. He lied. He said he had a plan, and he could still do something, but he's choosing to do pretty much nothing.
He's taking the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And it's hurting the American people, and ultimately during a time like COVID, it's hurting the entire world.
Yeah, and the price of insulin and all those prescription drugs went right back up.
And here's the thing. Sorry, I feel like I'm interrupting a lot, but I feel like just let me say, I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't like him, but I don't hate him. I don't hate Kamala Harris. I don't like her, but I don't hate her. What I hate are the people behind them. What I hate is the empire that is pulling the puppet strings on them. They are the figureheads that we are supposed to blame.
Right.
We are supposed to place blame on Joe Biden, who is clearly a puppet who has been shoved into a position of power.
Yeah.
We are supposed to hate Kamala Harris, who is a Wicked Witch archetype character who has been shoved into a position of power. And whether you love her or hate her, I'm sorry if the people who like her, I apologize. This is just my own personal, unfiltered opinion.
Yeah.
And you can feel free to disagree with me. That's your right. But I think as I said, I don't hate them, but I don't like them. And I think both of them are being controlled by other people who are much more powerful, who are telling them what to say. And I think that's been the case for a long time.
Yes, yeah.
But I think with these two, it's just...
even it's like it's
extra evident.
Yes, yeah.
It's extra clear.
I always called Biden like the Trojan horse for the Democratic Party.
Exactly. So
exactly
I look at them and it's like, if you actually sat down with these fools like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, it's like they are so far removed from our society. It's like, when's the last time Joe Biden had a blue collar job aside from working the pool with Corn Pop?
Corn Pop was a bad
You know,
dude.
it's like, I don't hate Biden. I don't hate Kamala. I don't like them, but I don't hate them. But I think there are puppet masters behind the scenes who are really manipulating things, who are really holding the reins, so to speak.
I concur.
Let me adjust this monkey here. And
Nice.
And
Beautiful.
there we are.
HD.
So as I said, don't hate them, but don't like them, but I don't think they're really the ringleaders.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny to me because so many people have been saying, like, oh, thank God Biden's immediately reversing everything Trump did. But again, guys, that includes the good stuff. He's reversing everything. Like, it's not like he's this saint who's coming into play and making everything good again. Trump did a few good things, whether you like it or not, and Biden is also reversing those things.
And that could be said for any president. It's like, I know a lot of you guys
yeah.
have this blind hate for Trump.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because so much of it was being fed to us by the mainstream media.
We were told to.
We were told to hate him. But if you really go back and listen to exactly the words that came out of his mouth, not just his tweets. I know his tweets could be stupid at times. I get that. But to hate him solely for that, for having a personality, for having an edge, I think that's kind of what we needed.
Yeah, me too.
And it was very stifled. They really, put a political pillow over his face and tried to stifle him.
Yeah.
And it didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And that's what pissed so many people off. But, he was an individual. He was unique, and he wasn't a career politician initially when he came into office. And you look back, it's like, there were good and bad from every president. There was good and bad from Obama. Obama, he seemed like a cool dude. He seemed like a good man.
And that's why people liked him. Oh, he was so chill. Obama was so chill.
But my thing is, it's like, if you look back at everything that he did, the media never gave him a hard time. He was the golden boy. But you look back, not everything he did was perfect. There were a lot of things that were detrimental to the United States, whether you want to admit that or not. But was he a good man? Seemed like it. But I think he was more into promoting his own self-image and selling books and going on the Tonight Show than actually being a president. So it's like, was he a chill guy? Yeah, probably. But it's like, was he the best president? I don't think so.
Not by a long
George Bush, it's like I don't have strong feelings towards him. I'm against war, obviously. I support the troops, but I'm against war. And was he the best? No, definitely not. But did he have a good heart? I think so. Bill Clinton seemed like a lot of fun. Would have loved to have golfed with Bill Clinton and smoked a stogie and talk about ladies. Was he the best president? No. It's like any of those guys, it's like they have their flaws. They're fucking politicians, man.
Yeah.
And
Baby.
Oh, the baby. But anyway, we're going down the political rabbit hole here. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, no matter what side of the fence you're on, there's good and bad in every situation. And I think it's healthy to look at the good and bad. Yeah. And I did not see that demonstrated from the far left towards President Trump. All they looked at was the negative. And even with Barack Obama, it's like, personally, I did not vote for him, but did I support him, want him to do well? Yes, 100%, because he was the president, and I wanted him to succeed so that we would all succeed. And I think everyone should do that for every president, and instead of just focusing on the negative constantly, Trump never got that opportunity from the other side of the fence.
Yeah, that's very true, yeah. No matter what he did, he was constantly berated. And when he did good stuff, everyone was just silent. It's like it doesn't even happen. Yeah. So it's very sad. And one of the saddest things I've seen is that when you mention that to anyone who voted for Biden, that Biden was retracting a lot of the main points of his campaign, they're like, well, we had to do it. No, you didn't have to do anything. I didn't vote for Trump and I didn't vote for Biden because I don't fully agree with either of them. You shouldn't vote for someone unless you really believe in them. I hate this fucking best of, two evils or whatever the fuck the saying is.
Lesser of two
evils.
Yeah. Cheers, brother.
Cheers. It's
for those of you who are still chilling with us, to freedom of speech and to freedom of thought.
Yeah.
Like, my thing is, believe what you want to believe and do your research, guys. It's like, don't listen to just us.
No.
Don't listen to just one news outlet. Think for yourself, man, because at the end of the day, it's up to you.
And believe in what you think. Like, don't don't vote for Biden just because you feel like you have to vote for Biden because he's better than Trump because you've seen the mean tweets on Twitter.
Because social media tells you so.
Yeah. But if you liked Joe Jorgensen, then vote for Joe Jorgensen.
Joe?
Everyone says, I think it was Joe.
Joe? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do I know?
Like, I mean, there's always that thing where everyone's like, oh, third
I'm
party
thinking
will
Jill
never...
Stein. I'm stupid.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, I lump them all together, too.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there's that mindset that is like, oh, it's quixotic to vote for a third party. It's never going to happen. Well, if you have that fucking mindset, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
If everyone actually did a little bit of research and decided who they liked best and had principles and voted for the person who they actually believed in rather than, well, I guess we got to do this, then things would change. But if you keep thinking, well, I guess we got to do this, then nothing's ever going to change.
So many things nowadays are a concession.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it should be something that you really feel in your heart.
Yeah, it's awful.
Vote the way you feel, but don't let the mainstream media sway you, because clearly they are tilted a certain direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing that Biden did was allow trans women in women's sports. So I don't even think we need to elaborate on that.
That's fucking stupid.
There it is. So what do you think is going to come from that? I'll just put that question out there.
You're going to have a lot of female athletes who really put their heart and soul into it, getting hurt and crushed
by Sam Hyde.
by guys that are coming in and have really weird ass intentions.
Yeah.
And you're going to have dudes, like Sam Hyde, that are in there to prove a point.
Yeah.
And they're going to crush these female athletes in a disturbing way. Not in terms of being better, but in terms of physically being bulkier.
Yeah.
And they're gonna fuck them up.
Yeah, they will.
And I know there's exceptions. There's some very large female athletes that could fuck shit up. I get it, but I think there's gonna be a few people who come in to prove a point, and it's not gonna end well. Not the way you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really funny to me. I just gotta say this one thing. I'm not gonna go into it deeply, but I've just noticed that when anyone tries to make a distinction between someone who was born a female and then versus someone who became a female, they get shat on because everyone's like, oh, there's no difference. So the trans woman is a woman, and then as soon as something like this happens, it's everyone. It goes without saying you shouldn't do that because obviously they're going to have a physical upper hand.
Yeah.
So, which one?
Pick a side.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, you want to hear a weird one?
Yeah.
For folks on the dating scene right now, occasionally, not everyone. There's a lot of cool chicks out there, but there's also some girls out there who are super woke and super pro-feminism, which is fine. But then when it comes to who picks up the tab,
it's a classic.
They still get pissed off when the guy doesn't pick up the tab, and I'm like, I thought you wanted this equal.
Even Seinfeld. Speaking of Seinfeld, got my Seinfeld glass.
Hey. I don't mind picking up the tab, but at the same time, don't bitch to me about inequality in the
George
workplace.
says the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the feminists.
Yeah.
They want equality, but when the tab comes, who's there?
Exactly.
Where are they?
We live in a strange time because there's some women out there who are classic women who are independent, but also go with the flow of
I think you just
classic society.
I think you need to date chiller girls. I've never had a problem with them like going Dutch or whatever.
Yeah,
actually.
I date crazy women.
Yeah.
But let me say, as of recently, there are some very cool chicks out there who are very nice. And if they are listening, they know who they are, and they're very cool. But in the past, let's say, within the last year and a half, I did encounter some quote-unquote woke girls who were kind of a handful, and they were very hot and cold on what was allowed and what wasn't. Right. And, they'd be very vocal about certain opinions, and then at the end of the day, they'd get pissed off at you if you held the door open for them. So it's like, pick a fucking side, Yeah. But, as of recently, there are some very cool, awesome girls out there.
That's good.
Yeah, it just depends who you're with.
Shout out to the cool and awesome girls.
Shout out to the cool and awesome girls who watch Unfazed Review. We love all of you. Shout out to the ladies of Unfazed. Beautiful. And the men, too. We love you.
Yeah, I had to throw that out there, everything about the comparing Trump and Biden.
I can't like this fucker.
Because I feel like when Trump was in office, there was nothing you could say. Like, if you said anything that was like, well, maybe this is okay, everyone would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You think this is okay?
My thing
now
is
that he's out, maybe we can all fucking breathe for 2 seconds.
My thing is, you switch that out to any president. Let's say back in the day, let's say you were not a fan of Jimmy Carter, but Jimmy Carter implemented one good thing, and you were having a conversation at the office. God forbid you talk about politics in the office, right? But back in the past, you were allowed.
Yeah, you could be like, hey,
and
you did a good thing, and people would be like,
you could
yeah,
voice your
like
opinion if
yeah.
it differed from the majority, which is fucking insane, right? And let's say Jimmy Carter did one good thing, even though you didn't vote for him. Let's say you didn't like him, but he did a good thing that helps you out. You could go to the water cooler the next day and say, that was a good thing that President Carter did. And people would say, cool, yeah. Same with Reagan. Let's say you didn't vote for Reagan, but Reagan did something that helped you economically. You're like, oh, cool, Reaganomics, all right. And you wouldn't be crucified, and you wouldn't be blacklisted, and you wouldn't be fired from your job. Something happened within the last 4 years, and I know some of you cucks will say, Trump, hate monger.
Yeah.
Fuck you. But what I think happened was a shift in the appreciation for a difference of opinion and the ability to have a conversation with different viewpoints. It's like, let's say you don't like Trump, right? And let's say this person over here on the right, Johnny, loves Trump. You should be able to have a conversation about that and not lose your job.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that was lost.
It was around like 2015 when things
100%
really started getting heated.
100%. Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I think it was a lot of that, like,
social media is to blame.
SJW stuff, the rise of that thought process really created a huge headbutting in politics. And
social media is to blame because
too.
they were instigators of conflict.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And actually, I should mention this because I've been talking to you guys a lot about how I'm on Twitter and I need to get off. I mentioned how I literally just tweeted like, he lied about everything. Good job, guys.
Who's that?
Talking about Biden. I tweeted that.
Yeah.
And, of course, a lot of people came in defensively, being like,
they came in
we
clutch.
had to do it. We had to do it. At least we got Trump out. And at that point, I just couldn't take it. I deleted my Twitter account.
That's a bad perspective,
so
guys.
I'm off Twitter now. Thank God. The air is sweeter.
Doesn't it feel good?
It feels
You've
good.
had a real cleanse lately.
Yeah, I really have.
You've had a real cleanse.
Oh, yeah, the other thing, I guess, in terms of technology
Talk about it.
We, I'm on a family plan, and with my phone, and we recently...
These are good cigars.
They're really good cigars. What are they?
I don't even fucking know. We've got them on a whim.
Whiskey
these are
Rebellion.
Intemperance cigars. 1794 Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah.
Highly recommend, man. A smooth freaking cigar. Doesn't stay lit very long, but nice.
Yeah.
Good flavor.
So, yeah, weird little story about my phone, I guess. We recently just switched from Verizon to Consumer Cellular. I am now officially 70-year-old living in Florida.
Congrats,
Uncle Leo. And the transition for the rest of my family was very smooth. They just put their SIM cards in their phone and they were ready to go.
Yeah.
But I had this weird loophole, and actually it's been really obnoxious going through this. So I'll spare you guys the details.
Okay.
Basically, the guy at Verizon told me that my phone status is unlocked. Verizon locks your phone to Verizon carriers.
I have Verizon.
To stop it from foul play in the beginning. But after 60 days, it's supposed to be unlocked, so you can just switch the SIM card out to another carrier, and you should be good to go on that phone. But for some reason, the status is both unlocked, and then at the same time, it says like unlock eligibility happens in like 2022. So I have this weird loophole going on, and the SIM card doesn't work in my phone. It says like this is not a Verizon phone, so I couldn't use my phone except when I was on Wi-Fi, and I can use social media to talk to people.
Yeah.
But I talked with a guy actually this morning on the phone with Verizon, and he said that maybe factory resetting my phone would work to let the SIM card work.
Okay.
And so I tried to factory reset my phone. It didn't work. The SIM card still did not work. And then what was funny, this was kind of creepy, to even have the phone work in any way, like use apps or anything, I had to sign into Google and one of my Google accounts.
No shit.
So I signed into a Google account, but then to sign in, they wanted to send me a text, which I could not accept.
Obviously.
So I literally, my phone is completely useless at this point.
I'm sorry.
But it's actually been really nice.
But you seem happy.
Yeah, I have no phone on me, and I'm actually just enjoying life.
And if you need anything, I got
blue skies.
I got a phone. You got a
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
You got access to social.
I don't know,
You
man.
still have access to social media.
Yeah.
You know, if you needed it, you could sign in to Snapchat or Instagram on my phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you know, you got it.
Yeah, I was telling Ben how like I feel like when we were little kids and you just like when you were driving, you just like look out the window or
Yeah.
I mean, there are long spaces in between things that you just kind of hang out and take in
Totally.
the moment and not really have to do anything or think about anything. And I've been enjoying those moments.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of I'm not in any rush to get my SIM card thing fixed now because I'm just like
I don't know if you
It's
guys
kinda
remember this,
nice.
but as kids, you know, I know we have a difference in age in our viewership. You know, you got younger people and you got older people, and that's cool. People in between, whatever. You're all welcome. You're all part of the Unfazed crew. And if you are not, please like and subscribe and join us so you can be a member of the Unfazed crew officially. If you like what we're saying, if not, carry on.
if not do it anyway because
If not, join us. Let us brainwash you. Yes. But anyway, in all seriousness, I remember being a kid, and it seemed like summer would be really long. And I don't know if that's just our perspective of time. When you're
Yeah, summer
5,
was
6, 7, 8,
huge, yeah.
9, it's like you've only had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of life to grasp what a year means. So it seems like for your brain to comprehend that, time seems longer. So the older you get, your concept of what a year is, you wrap your brain around a little bit more, and time appears to go more quickly. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems to be a reality for me, at least.
You know what? I was just going to chime in. One of the most terrifying quotes I ever heard was when we were visiting my grandparents in their like old person's home when I was like 9. This old lady told me, we were having some conversation. You know, she was commenting on my younger age, and I was like, "How's it like being in '90 or whatever?" And she was she said, "Every 5 minutes it's time for breakfast."
Holy shit!
So you're right.
Wow.
I mean, things feel long when you're younger, and it's just it's because you have more to look back on that your brain kind of, you know.
Time for breakfast.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrific actually, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, so enjoy every moment, and if you're hesitant about pulling the trigger on doing something productive in your life, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, because tomorrow is going to come more quickly than you anticipate, and you'd rather look back with fond memories than negative memories and regrets.
Yeah, but no,
So,
you're right. I mean,
do it.
Social media and phones and all that, smartphones and all that stuff, they do contribute to sort of the quickening pace of our lives, and that's exactly my point. Is that without that phone, I feel a little bit more like a kid. Like summer is longer, moments are longer.
I can distinctly remember being like, I don't know exactly the age, but let's say like 6 or 7, and laying on the couch and being like, I'm bored, summer's so long, summer seems to take forever. And now I'm like, oh man, prime time for a nap.
Yeah, right.
Like, you appreciate downtime.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a kid, you're like, oh, this is taking forever. But also as a kid, you couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
you were reliant on your parents and your friends for entertainment in a way, unless you're playing with your toys or watching videos. And I feel like as an adult, you're like, I can get in the car and go. Or I can, do something productive.
Yeah. One of my funniest memories, it kind of confirms what you're saying, is that I think when I was in elementary school, Thanksgiving weekend was like a 4-day weekend.
Depending, yeah.
And I think for me it was
Like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
yeah. And I remember distinctly like being in the bleachers with 2 of my friends. We were waiting for our parents to come pick us up. And
About
it was
how
like this, I want to say like 4th grade.
Okay.
And
Like 9 or 10.
it was like this heartfelt goodbye
Wow.
because of 4 days we weren't going to see each other.
That's wild.
You know, yeah. And now, like, I remember this last winter break, like, went by in a flash.
Yeah.
I saw, like, the date school was going to start, and then I looked at today's date, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Winter break is, like, it was, like, 2 seconds.
That's hardcore, man.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, so I do think the perception of time is a real thing.
Yeah.
And, make the most of it, guys, because you never know when...
You're going to wake up when you're 90.
Exactly. Or you're going to wake up and it's over, you know? Not to be a bummer. I don't mean to be like make you guys feel down or anything, but life, it does eventually, unfortunately, have to end. It's like a vacation,
Yeah.
And eventually you do have to face that. Oh, there's only 1 day left, and you got to hop back on the plane or hop back in the car or whatever, and go back to reality or back to where you came from originally. So yeah, make the most of it. Not to be a Tony Robbins philosophical life coach or anything like that. But if there's something you're thinking about doing, do it, because life is too short to be stuck doing things that you hate. It's like try to find a way out. Try to work towards your goals and your ambitions. Because at the end of the day, it's like we're just dudes who have worked regular jobs, and we're just guys. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, whether you love us or hate us or indifferent, it's whatever, man, but this is what we enjoy doing. We enjoy making
Yeah.
videos. I love connecting with a lot of you guys. This is one of the best things I've found in my life. And it's an awesome hobby to have. And I think whether your hobby is video or art or something that I'm not even familiar with, lean into it.
Yeah.
Because life's too short to be doing things that make you feel like crap.
Very true.
So lean into what your strengths and what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think understanding and accepting that it's only going to get faster from here is important.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So just
Because
rule of thumb.
at the end of the day, it's like we're all on the same roller coaster.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much fun you're having and your perspective.
100%.
Yeah. What do we got in the old hee haw gang over here?
We got tons of stuff. I don't know what you want to hit
Yeah.
first.
I just want to tell you guys, if we seem a little loose and a little loopy,
We've been drinking
we've
for a
been
while,
we've
yeah.
been drinking a lot.
Yeah.
We've been drinking for the last 3 hours, and we've been playing a lot of Uncharted 4. So if we're a little loopy, forgive us, but we're having a good time.
We watched a lot of Recess too. Shout out to Recess.
Shout out to
One of
Recess.
one of the best shows.
Oh, and shout out to Dark Exploration Films.
oh yeah, we just watched one of their
Yeah.
videos.
If
Yeah,
you guys
those are
aren't familiar
great.
with them, subscribe to Dark Exploration Films on YouTube.
Yeah.
They explore abandoned places that are really cool.
Yeah.
And talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's. I wouldn't even say urban exploration because they're not urban places, but
they're kind of off the beaten path.
They're just forgotten, abandoned places, and these guys are so. They're completely unlike most of the exploration type channels you probably come across. Because I mean, we've all binged those types of channels and those types of videos, and 9 times out of 10, the guys are really douchebags.
There's a lot of douchebags.
They have like the paintbrush hair and the Gucci everything, and they're just like they're trying to crack jokes, and it's just stupid. And they don't really know what they're doing. They just kind of go in there willy nilly and like fuck shit up. Hey, bruh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But these guys are really nice. They're really knowledgeable. They really cared about the site that they were filming. They never disclosed the location. They're like, we don't want anyone fucking with this.
Yeah.
You could tell the guy was really smart. Like he knew what. I don't know. He knew what was going on with the place, and he could back it up with a lot of historical value.
Totally.
And they just let the video be what it is. They just kind of showcased this area.
They weren't trying too hard.
It wasn't tons of talking, and he was just kind of soft spoken. But it was such a treat to watch because so much stuff on YouTube is so like in your face, and these guys were just like.
Yeah.
First of all, the locations were all stellar.
They were
all these
amazing.
incredible
And the
locations.
cinematography on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they gave you just enough information to keep it like interesting as they were going along. But most of it was just like, here it is. And it was like you really felt, it was immersive. You felt like you were really there just watching it with them. And they were just really cool, nice, knowledgeable guys who really cared about what they were doing and had a lot of respect. And it was nice. It was really refreshing.
Totally.
So yeah.
If you guys are new to the channel, which I'm sure a lot of you might be, Dark Exploration Films is what they're called. Subscribe to them, check them out, good guys. And the first video I would recommend, the first one that I showcased to Emmett, was a riverboat where people would do gambling. So like a casino riverboat that was abandoned. And it looked like it was somewhere in like Louisiana or like Georgia or something like that. And it was so cool. Like, I mean, something like a total relic from the past that was still retaining its energy, but was like just really beat up, and rusted out. But so cool, man. Like kind of creepy, but at the same time, very nostalgic.
Yeah, it was insane. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, so check them out because those guys are just like, shout out to Dark Exploration Films because those guys are just doing amazing work.
Yeah, they're sweet.
Yeah, check them out. Subscribe to them, please. H2O, baby. H2O. And also, believe it or not, more beer. Shout out to Santan Brewing Company.
This is going to be a series of shout-outs.
Moon Juice. IPA.
Moon Juice.
Yeah.
Which, from the old email...
What are you drinking right now? You got apple whiskey?
Yeah, whatever you made me, and then I got to do my fireball
Ooh,
shot like
baby
we're in
boy.
high school.
You should dump it in your thing so it's got a little apple to dilute it.
Okay.
Or whatever.
That's it. I'm probably not going to chug it.
I think if you sip it, you might thank yourself tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Oh, Emmett with the whiskey.
I'm mixing my potion.
Emmett with the whiskey.
Oh, my
All right.
potion.
Good shit, man.
Okay.
Good shit. Anyway, what do we have on the... Because there's so many things on here that we send that I forget about. Because we'll send each other conversation topics, and then we'll forget about it like 3-4 weeks later, and then we'll bring it up on the podcast, and I'm like, oh, I remember that article. Yeah.
Let's start from I mean, there's so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's so much.
Yeah, whatever. Start with any of these, I would say, that are unopened, and then I don't know, just riff on it.
Okay, let's see.
Sure.
Group aims to give hikers emergency Wi-Fi no matter how far off the beaten path. What is this?
Let's click the link. I don't even remember sending this. It's a good idea. I agree.
Times of Israel. Okay.
Okay.
Project beaming. Okay. Project beaming signals to special routers in canyons and other places without cell reception developed in wake of 2018 flash flood that left 10 teenagers dead.
Great idea.
So they're just trying to create more connectivity for hikers and so forth. Oh, that's kind of cool.
I think that's good because there's so many people who go out into the wilderness, like Garrett and Donovan,
Yeah.
who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they end up getting in over their head very quickly because they think, oh, we're going to go and take some cool pictures and have a good time. And then you end up coming face to face with nature that you're not equipped to deal with.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who end up getting hurt or lost or worse, end up dying.
Yeah, so it looks like they're like implanting Wi-Fi and like patches of rocks and stuff. And I don't even know how you do that.
Which is great. So
Yeah.
there's literally a picture here that
Yeah.
says SOS on a rock in the
Yeah.
desert. It looks like in the Mojave Desert.
That's really neat.
That's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
That's cool.
I think that's something that a lot of people could benefit from, and that even 15, 20 years ago would have been a godsend. But like now we have the capability to actually make it a reality. Because it's like imagine getting lost in the woods and you're just you're fucked.
Dude, this one's kind of scary. Artificial intelligence breakthrough. Most videos to be made by AI in less than a decade. What does that even mean?
Let's see. Oh, go back. I saw a note on it. Let's go back.
You're reading your own note, cracking up. Oh man,
It's funny.
excellent.
Yeah.
It is funny.
I think Kristen Bell's hot.
The majority of wait, what?
Oh, go down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, she is hot.
She's hot.
Yeah, she's really hot.
She's hot.
The majority of video content will be produced by artificial intelligence, possibly within 5 years, according to a leader tech writer.
I don't think so.
That's bullshit, man.
I think maybe like spammy ads, like the you won't believe what she looks like now, and like those like different like clickbait
Yeah.
ads. I think those will be generated by AI, but I think actual entertainment that we watch on YouTube and whatever the streaming platform is in 25 years, and on movie screens and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think that'll still be done, by people who are independent thinkers and by filmmakers and by actual human beings.
That's art. The thing with
Yeah.
art and comedy is that it's a human thing. So
Yeah.
I know it's like it's kind of kitschy and cool to have an AI like make music and stuff, but at the same time, if an AI makes music, that defeats the entire purpose of music. And same
Totally.
with comedy. So like, it's
Totally.
like you can't. It's gonna be a gimmicky novel thing, and it's gonna
When it
wear
gets
off
to the
me.
point where actually, if AI is actually producing stuff, like let's say a film, let's say in 100 years, artificial intelligence mans every aspect of an independent film, it's going to be lacking something, and it's going to be lacking relatability because we are not artificial intelligence.
Yeah, art is about human expression. So if you remove the human, it's not art anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, like, is it possible? Yeah. But is it going to end up being some kind of weird manufactured thing that is lacking human sensibilities and human...
Yeah. To me, it's just philosophically
thought process?
pointless. It's
Weird. And like, is it possible? Totally, and that's why I think it could be possible for advertising. Like, advertising is kind of a quick thing anyway. It's like you want to, now they try to push that shitty mainstream humor into their ads. Like everything's trying to be a shitty Super Bowl ad where it's like an awkward sense of humor, and then they're shoving the product in the last 5 seconds of the commercial. I hate that. Like, it's so fucking stupid. But I could see them doing that with artificial intelligence and having like these shitty mainstream commercials being churned out by AI. 100%. But am I going to go watch a movie and be totally entertained by something that was fully written and produced and directed and acted by AI? Hopefully not in my lifetime. I'd rather be dead.
This is awful, yeah.
Yeah. For commercials and for advertising, 100%. Speaking of which, it's actually time for another commercial break. So you guys check out this next ad and feel free to buy whatever they're peddling, and then we'll be back in just a second.
March of the Penguins, now on DVD. This holiday, you can give the gift that keeps on marching. March of the Penguins, as told by Morgan Freeman, makes a great gift this holiday. You can own it now on DVD. Rated G.
go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big picnic.
And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed those wonderful commercials. The next topic we had is, pretty just stupid. It's just someone literally complaining, and it got turned into an article by the Sunday Times.
Classic.
Queen and Beatles leave young musicians struggling to earn from streaming. So I guess what happened, some up-and-coming musicians that are trying to break through Spotify and all that are feeling a little downtrodden, and like the scope of streaming and just popular music these days is unfair because in 2019 the most popular albums were Bohemian Rhapsody and Abbey Road.
Isn't that amazing? What year? 2019?
2019, yeah.
That's amazing.
That's good.
So I'm
happy about that.
So an album from 1969 and then the Bohemian Rhapsody soundtrack? Is that what it was? From the movie?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think
makes sense because the movie.
Because I think the song came from A Night at the Opera,
Right.
which was like 77 or something like that. I could be wrong on that, but
Night at the Opera.
anyway,
Nerds.
but I mean, let's talk about it. The Beatles and Queen are crushing everyone as of 2 years ago.
To me, that's like really good news.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, like that music changed the world.
Yeah.
That music changed the world.
And I will say, as a struggling musician, I literally just recorded a song today in the studio this morning.
Shout it out. Shout it out.
It's called "If I Could." It's very heartfelt. It's not pop or anything that you guys are probably thinking of. It's more of like a song from a musical, if anything. Actually, I'm writing it for my senior recital. I'm a composition major, and I have to create a senior recital. So it's like a half hour of my music. So this is more classically oriented music.
Beautiful.
But it was. I mean, it was. I'm proud of the song. I think it was a good song. But my thing with these guys is like, if you're really like mad at Queen and the Beatles for being as popular as they are, and you feel like they're like holding you down, then you really don't care about your music. Like that never crosses my mind.
Yeah.
Whenever
You're in a competitive mindset.
If you care about the craft, you keep writing music because you love writing music. You go into the studio because you love to see it come to life. I'm never like, oh fuck, man, like I'm never gonna get anywhere because Queen. If you're really like, if you have that mindset, all you care about is like being popular. You don't really care about your music. You just want to, you like see yourself as this rock star, and you want to be the rock star, and you're mad at these guys because like they're the rock stars and you aren't. Like
They're holding you down, man.
Stop being 5 years old. It's just stupid. Yeah, I don't know why an entire article was created for that.
My mindset around that, it's like I'm not a musician. I mean, I'll dabble once in a while, but nothing compared to you, man. But like, I look at something like that, and that's the equivalent of like, let's say I want to make a movie, right? And I write a movie and I want to direct it, and I say, oh, what's the point? Because Martin Scorsese, when he was 3 years younger than I, made a movie that was amazing, and I could never compete with it. And whether that's true or not, which it probably is, he's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
It's like, should that deter me from making a movie ever in my entire life?
Yeah,
No,
right.
man. It's like you can't. I mean, it's like, yes, you can hold yourself against other people, and
And you should, but in a
Yeah.
productive way.
but you shouldn't let it deter you from doing things.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, let's say there's a musician listening to this right now, and you're a singer, and I'm like, how good are you? And you're like, well, I'm okay. And I'm like, well, Freddie Mercury's better than you, so you should never try, even though Freddie's been dead for like 25 years or more. And it's like, that's a silly way to approach creativity and to approach your life, because I think realistically at the end of the day there's always going to be a lot of people who are a whole hell of a lot better than you and a whole hell of a lot more successful, but there's also people who aren't as good as you and who would be envious to be in the position that you're in and to have the capability that you have and to have the talent that you have. And even if you're not number one and you're not the most successful, even if you're number 358 and there are people who like to hear what you have to say and like to listen to you and appreciate you, that's worth it in itself. And if you connect with even one or two people and they are your fans, should you write that song? Or should you make that video?
Right.
Or should you write that book? That's up to you. Mm-hmm. But I think you should, personally, because you're going to resonate with someone and that could really have a huge ripple effect.
Yeah. There was one person, I want to, kind of boasting now, I guess, but I wrote, Amazon High, that book I wrote.
Yes.
It's kind of like a Freaky Friday type thing. There's a guy who just graduates high school, and basically, like, the night of high school graduation, he gets fucked up, and when he wakes up, it's the start of his high school career. It's like his first day as a freshman, and he's a girl, and he has to, like, contend with that. Mm-hmm. And there was a trans person who like read all of it, and they would comment on every single chapter. There's this website called Wattpad where you can post things based in chapters.
Yeah.
And they would comment on every single chapter how much they loved it, how much it was, how well written it was, how they thought I really treated everything with a lot of respect, and it resonated with them as a trans person, and it really touched me. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. Like I'm proud of that, but like
Were they boy to girl or girl to boy?
I'm not sure. Their username was kind of nondescript, so I couldn't tell what gender they identify as.
TJ.
But exactly. But it was really like it made my day. Like this, yeah, and that was just one person. But that's enough. That's more than enough. If you can touch one person with your art, then that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And my thing is, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, even with my own stuff, it's like, yeah, are there YouTubers that are more successful? 1,000,000%. Yeah, my channel, whatever. But are there people out there who never even gave it a chance? Are there people out there who I think are hilarious as fuck and they never even made a YouTube channel? Yeah. Totally. So it's like, I'd rather at least put a little bit out there and touch a couple lives than not do it at all.
Exactly.
You know, and it's also something that I thoroughly enjoy, and not just me. You know, I think to you guys at home who are listening as well, if there is something that you're into, just do it. Don't be deterred by someone being more successful than you, because generally that's going to be the case. Yeah. But there's also people out there who just sit on their potential, and they work a job and they go home and they're tired, and they could go home and use that hour that they spend watching Netflix or whatever to record a podcast, but they don't. And so we never know who they are. We never get to enjoy them. We never get to hear their perspective. And they live their life, they work, they go home, and they die. And we never get to hear their voice. And I think that is one of the biggest tragedies of mankind. Yeah. Wasted potential.
Yeah.
So no matter who you are, no matter what your situation is, no matter your physical or mental ability or whatever it is, just try something. Just do it. Because life's short, man, and you might connect with someone and it could really change your life and change their life.
That's very true. Very well said.
Yeah.
And just to recap, I think, to me, how I interpret the fact that the Beatles and Queen were on the top in 2019 is not only a testament to how like genuinely great they were, both of them, but to how shitty all the stuff that's being peddled to the top these days is.
Oh, it's garbage.
Billie Eilish.
Any of them, dude. You look at there's the Professor of Rock that I watch on YouTube, and I think that's who he is. Anyway, just look up. It could be Professor of Rock or somebody else, but there's a dude who I gotta look, make sure I'm giving you the correct information.
The Professor of Rock.
But he essentially, if I have the correct person, he reviews new music once in a while and reacts to it in a hilarious way.
That's cool.
And you just really see the disparity between, you know, music from 20 years ago and today. Yeah. No, not Professor of Rock. I'm stupid. Hang on. All right, let's see.
If Professor of Rock isn't a thing, we should make it like a character.
Professor of Rock's the thing.
Oh, is it a thing?
He also has a good channel, but it's a different guy. Here, take over while I Google this.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's an uplifting thing.
Oh, my phone died.
Fuck
it. Look up look up modern rock guy reacts to current top 40.
Okay, yeah, you'll probably find it if you look that up.
Anyway, whatever. He's cool. But Professor Rock is worth subscribing to as well.
Go find him.
Yeah.
Do a little sleuthing, little internet sleuthing. Okay, so the next one is, you can take this one because I haven't been watching the show, Cobra Kai and the debate around cultural appropriation.
Oh, click the link, yeah. Okay, so Cobra Kai and the debate around cultural appropriation. Here's what the Den of Geek link says.
Oh, just because it's about karate and it's mainly
white people? Yeah. It says Cobra Kai has experienced some backlash by who? And
I'm done.
Cobra Kai has experienced some backlash about its all-white main cast. Not correct. Watch the show. And it's all part of a larger debate within the martial arts world. Okay, first of all, why are you anti-white? And second of all, Ralph Macchio is of Italian descent, and the actor who plays Miguel is Hispanic. So it's not an entirely white cast. And even if it is, what's wrong with that?
Why aren't there more Asians in Cobra Kai?
My thing is, why are you making that a goddamn issue? Why are you making that goddamn issue? It's a good show. It's a well-written show. Why do we always have to consistently focus on race? You know, it's like, why are you forcing diversity? You know, you have solid characters. You have a good cast of people. Anytime it's a majority of a white cast, people shit on it. It's like there are plenty of shows that have an all-black cast, or movies that have an all-black cast, or a predominantly Asian cast. And it's like, why does it always have to be a thing, and why can't you just focus on what the content has to offer? It's like Cobra Kai is such a good show, and if you are not watching it, you're missing out. If you're a fan of the Karate Kid, any of them, 1, 2, 3, the next Karate Kid, any of them, check out Cobra Kai. But why do these fucking nerds have to turn it into a racial issue and try to turn a successful TV show into some sort of hate crime? Why the fuck do you do that? Like, enjoy the show for what it is, no matter what color skin you have. I don't care. Enjoy the show, man. And if for some reason it doesn't have enough of a representation of a particular race or ethnicity, go watch something else. But like, why shit on a successful show for being entertaining just because you don't agree with the cast? And in fact that you're focusing on there being a lot of white people in the show, and you thinking that it's a negative thing, in turn makes you quite a bit racist.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm totally over the cultural appropriation thing. That's just a vehicle to shit on like America and white people.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let me just say this: South Korea, all of their like boy bands, they're wearing ripped jeans and they're all rapping,
and they have
like,
blonde streaks in their hair.
Fuck, like it's
yeah.
That being said, the cultural appropriation argument is over.
Yes.
Shut your fucking lips. Like, it's obvious bullshit. So,
my thing is, if you're really going to bitch about this and get upset, let's put on our thinking caps for a second, and let's say you bitch out a celebrity like, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about, but let's say Britney Spears, for instance, and she has dreadlocks, and you say that's cultural appropriation because, you know, white women traditionally don't have dreadlocks, so you shit all over her. Okay, but Cardi B comes out with her hair platinum blonde, which is not traditionally what an African American woman would have, but that's not cultural appropriation?
The thing is,
that's a double standard, bro.
There's like, people are like, diversity is the best thing in the world, and then they're like, oh, cultural appropriation. Again, you gotta pick one.
Yeah.
They're completely hypocritical.
And every other country fucking worships, you know, American pop culture. And I know a lot of our foreign friends may beg to differ, and it's okay. Not every country, I agree. But a lot of countries, specifically, you know, South Korea, like we were talking about, there is a lot of American pop culture worship going on.
They fucking love America.
They love it. And
what is it in Japan that they like love baseball? Like, baseball is huge in Japan.
And it's like,
all they can do is cultural appropriation.
And I think that's great. And my thing is, if that were the other way around, that would be considered cultural appropriation, and we would be shit on here in the United States, specifically Caucasian people. But my thing is, I think that should be allowed everywhere. Yeah. And it's like, if Cardi B wants to have her hair platinum blonde, I love it. And I think that is okay. And I think if Britney Spears wants to have dreadlocks, I think that's great. And I think she should be able to have it. I think the people who are looking to create these divisions and who are labeling everything as racist or everything as cultural appropriation are the fucking problem. It's not the people who are actually doing it, who are celebrating another culture and taking the positives from what their culture has to bring to them. I think that's a positive, but the people who are looking at those things as being a negative, that's fucked up. And I think people should be able to take the best of any culture and celebrate it, you know, as opposed to it being looked at as a negative thing.
Yeah, totally.
That's just me.
I was just thinking about, like, if we were really, really strict about this.
Yeah.
Think of how many great jazz musicians we wouldn't have.
100%.
Like Chet Baker, George Gershwin.
100%.
There's an amazing pianist who's skipping my mind right now. And me, I love jazz music. I love playing jazz. And
why is that a bad thing?
I don't know. I can't, man. It's racist.
Exactly. No, I mean, you're not allowed, no matter how talented a musician you are,
man.
if you celebrate and respect this form of art, you're not allowed to reproduce it because it's quote-unquote cultural appropriation.
Obnoxious.
That's the most fucking stupid shit I've ever heard in my life. So you're telling me Eminem shouldn't be a rapper? You're an
exactly.
You're an idiot. Yeah. You're an idiot. I disagree.
Oh, man.
I disagree respectfully.
I disagree.
It's fucking stupid.
The Uncut Gems quote. I disagree, Larry, or whatever it is.
I disagree.
Okay.
So that would be essentially saying that black people should not play basketball because a white man created basketball.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So you're telling me that black people who clearly dominate the game and the best players of all time are predominantly African American, you're telling me that they should not play because that is a Caucasian American appropriation.
But you're forgetting it doesn't work when it's with white people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And my thing is that, you know I have a lot of friends who watch this channel who are of a different, ethnicity, and that's cool, and I love you guys. And I think you would agree with me, because anyone who is a rational thinker knows that this train of thought is fucking dangerous.
It's just a waste of time.
And it's like, we here's my thing, no matter what you look like, guys, I don't care, as long as you're a good person, and we can all learn something from each other. It's like there are so many good things from different cultures that we all can celebrate, and we can all appreciate, whether it's artistically, musically, or like those kind of correlate, but cuisine-wise, anything within our culture, we can celebrate things from every walk of life, no matter where you're from, and we shouldn't boil it down to the color of our skin, where something comes from.
Yeah.
I think if you're good at it, run with it, do it, and celebrate it.
Yeah. It was Bill Evans. Bill Evans was the amazing jazz pianist that I was skipping my mind.
Yeah.
Go listen to Bill Evans and tell me that white people shouldn't be able to play jazz.
Exactly. That's like saying, what's another good example? Oh, fuck. I don't know. I can't think of any. That's like saying Lenny Kravitz shouldn't play rock. But I guess that would, they'd flip it around to blues and black musicians, which is fine. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. It's like, at the end of the day, if you're good, you're good, and it should be based on your talent and your merit and your enthusiasm for something, as opposed to the way you look.
The other huge one I can think of is classical music was like 90% of it, and especially of what we hear these days, was written by white people.
100%.
But some of the best performers are Asian.
Oh, Yo-Yo Ma.
Yeah, so like, all of the great classical musicians I can think of are like Asian, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And with that train of thought, no, they can't do it. They gotta stick with.
So if you subscribe to that, you're saying that Asian people, no, you're not allowed to play the violin. That was created by white English folk. And it's like, no, that's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I don't care what you look like. You should be able to do it. And whoa, there are some drag racers around here. Jesus Christ. Anyway, at the end of the day, that's such a shallow way of thinking. It's like, no matter what the color of your skin is, no matter where you're from, no matter what you look like, you should be able to do whatever you want if you have an aptitude for it.
Yeah.
And don't let these fucking weirdos on social media tell you what you can and can't do. It's like, if you're a white guy and you want to rap, go ahead. It's like, if you're an Asian guy and you want to get into classical music, go ahead. It's like, why do we have to put these labels on people at this juncture in time?
Yeah.
It seems like such a counterintuitive thing that it's just a huge step backwards.
It's a huge step backwards,
Yeah, and it's like, I don't care what you guys look like. I love you all as long as you're good people.
Yeah.
And as long as you believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Believe in what
That's
you're
all
doing.
that matters.
It's like, I know there's some people who come in and they dislike our stuff because they listen to like 5 seconds of what we have to say. And because we're two white guys, they assume that we are, fully against anyone who doesn't look exactly like us, which is not true. I love you guys as long as you're in the same... at least sphere as us, and you appreciate the same kind of comedic sensibilities and some of the same pop culture, and we don't have to always agree, that's the thing. But I think everyone has equal opportunity as long as you're real,
Yeah. So for the next one, it's Robinhood customer sues trading app over GameStop restrictions. So this was a big thing.
Ooh, take it away. I've been babbling.
Oh no, you're good.
No, I want you to talk.
I mean, this is ridiculous. We talked about it a little bit on a stream a while ago.
Oh yeah.
And since then, all the Dogecoin stuff has taken off.
That was exciting.
It's still cool.
It's still doing good. Yeah,
we can talk about that a little bit.
You want another light? Or are you good?
I think I'm good for now. A Robinhood user filed the class action lawsuit Thursday following the app's decision to restrict GameStop trading on its platform. Yeah, I mean, it's the funniest thing. It's the most ironic thing because an app called Robinhood was keeping the poor from being able to steal from the rich. So it was like it was the funniest fucking thing, and it was ridiculous. The lawsuit accuses Robinhood, a popular trading and individual brokerage app used by retail investors, of breaching its contract by failing to disclose it was going to randomly pull a profitable stock from its platform. Yes, this is good because so many people were like, "Oh, this is what you get for capitalism and free markets and all that good stuff." And it's like, no, you can't just get away with that. You can't do whatever the fuck you want. There's a class action lawsuit for a reason. You can't just be a crook and turn shit off because things aren't going your way. Obviously, a lot of these
shady.
Yeah, it's super shady. A lot of these hedge fund 1% people are obviously they have Robinhood in their pocket, right? So I get why Robinhood did it, because they were trying to appeal to those that are probably keeping them going, but it didn't work because it was so like face value fucked up that they were on their side, and they didn't want all of these working class people to make a buck and now they're getting fucked for it, and as they should. It was a really, really, really shitty thing to do.
Yeah. It was very backhanded.
Yeah. I should make a distinction. I mean, I've been thinking more lately. As you guys know, I really hate communism, but I think I should draw a distinction between like free markets and capitalism, because they're not exactly the same thing. I love free markets, and capitalism draws from that, but it's almost like capitalism is almost like a spoof of free markets, and this kind of thing can happen when they're under a capitalist society. But free markets being truly free and transparent, when Robinhood does something like this, they should get a slap on the wrist for it. Like, it shouldn't be allowed. And so I'm glad that this is happening.
Yeah. I think the lawsuits are warranted.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's the most sickening thing they could have possibly done.
Even as a user of Robinhood, I was disturbed by it. I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
guys.
it's awful.
What are you doing?
But now they're doing the same thing. Reddit is doing the same thing with Dogecoin that Ben actually got on pretty early on. You told me. I remember you told me like Dogecoin is going to be big.
I got on like a little over a month early.
Yeah, super cool. And now Elon.
I wish I would have invested more. To be honest, it wasn't that much, but I got a sliver
That's
of
good.
it. I got a sliver of the action.
It's awesome. And now Elon Musk has been tweeting the crap out of Dogecoin. I think he's such a. He just goofs around all the time.
He's
I think
an influencer.
He knows, like, he's obviously aware that just tweeting it out once is going to create a huge flux. And he's just having fun with that. He's been tweeting about it like a lot.
Yeah.
And it's going up.
Yeah.
I mean, it spiked that one night like a few weeks ago, and then it went down, but now it's climbing back up again.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see, and it's exciting to see, and this is what free markets are about. And
It's amazing how you can change the tide with a tweet.
Yeah.
It's like literally
If you're the right person,
there's a few people like that who have so much power. I mean, obviously Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world as of right now. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, time for one more break, but we'll catch up with you soon.
Rated everyone. For the first time ever in Bikini Bottom, 4 friends can play in this 30-level, action-packed multiplayer video game to see who will make it big in SpongeBob SquarePants. Lights, camera, pants. Available now.
I don't know how Welch's does it. 40 conquer grapes in every glass of their grape juice. They never ever add sugar. It's naturally sweet. Really, really. That's why Welch's 100% grape juice doesn't just taste really good. It's also really good for you, too. 40! Welch's is the best juice in the world. It's yummy.
Welch's 100% grape juice also tastes great on the go. Find it in the juice aisle.
The weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful.
Nothing melts away the cold like a delicious hot bowl of Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Hey, welcome back from that brief intermission. How you doing?
We are back.
Welcome back to the Unfazed Review podcast.
Moving next on the list, David Bowie answering the famous Proust questionnaire.
Oh, click it, yeah.
This?
So from what I understood, it was the Proust questionnaire was like a very famous questionnaire that was established in the late 1800s, and it's like a personality quiz essentially. And Bowie took this, and I don't even know the results because I wanted to do the Proust questionnaire with you.
Oh, okay.
On the podcast, so let's read about it. Read the first like 2 paragraphs.
Marcel Proust was a renowned and acclaimed French novelist and critic. He is widely considered one of the most influential authors of the 20th century, which was thanks in part to one set of questions that are the quickest way to unveil somebody's true character. Okay, I don't really believe in these things, but we'll see. Here we take a look back at one of the most up-close and personal interviews of Bowie's career. Below, we look at David Bowie's revealing answers to Proust's questionnaire.
Okay, so I have not read this, so what I thought would be fun is
do the questionnaire.
We read one question, I read the next question. Let's just do a couple of them, and then we read Bowie's answer. So I haven't looked at it. You read me the first one. Try not to read the second one, and then I'll read you the second one, and we'll go back and forth.
What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Perfect happiness for me is doing something that you love, like career-wise, that you feel 100% invested in, and being content with your personal life fully. Whether that's being alone, whether it's being with family, whether it's having kids, whether that's living in a place that you love. I think there's, at least for me, a work and life balance that needs to be achieved, and you need to be doing something that you feel totally aligns with your personality.
All right,
That's my answer.
that's good.
So if you wake up every morning and you're not dreading it, you're on the right track. Yeah.
A good rule of thumb.
What about for you?
Happiness, perfect happiness.
Yeah.
Oof. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, doing something that makes you happy with someone that makes you happy. I think.
I agree. I'm gonna bring it down
both of those things, call to action, like purpose, and then doing it with a partner or just a friend or someone that you really care about deeply. Those two things in conjunction, I think, that's true happiness.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Second question. What is your most marketed characteristic?
Oh,
and Bowie's answer for perfect happiness was quote unquote reading. Reading. That's it.
what a nerd.
Okay. Second question. To Emmett? What is your most marketed characteristic?
Oh, it's marked, I think. What is your most marked characteristic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought I said marketed, too.
I'm illiterate.
Yeah.
What is your most marked characteristic? Illiteracy for me, I guess.
So what is that? Just like what the thing people remember about you?
Remember, this was written in like the Old West.
Yeah.
So, what is your most notable characteristic?
I couldn't even say that. I feel like I'd have to have someone else answer that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I don't know what I would say.
Gun to your head. You have to say something. We're going to kill you, Mr. Lefebvre. What is your most marked characteristic?
That I mean, actually, this is really hilarious bringing this up on the podcast because I talk a lot of shit on this podcast. But being agreeable, I'm always like, yes to anyone in real life. I'm just like, yeah, okay. I like go along with shit.
Yeah, you're very easygoing.
Thanks. Yeah,
you're very easygooing.
Which is it comes across 0% on this podcast, but in real life,
yeah. On this podcast, it's really weird. I got to tell you guys, like honestly, like between us and you guys, I would say on this podcast, you probably see us as being a little cynical and a little rough around the edges. But generally, in my workplace, outside of YouTube and outside of video, working in like an office setting, I'm a pretty easygoing guy as well, and I'm very sociable. So I would say, there were a lot of times it's like I can be a real dick, and I can be real cynical, and I can be real moody, but I try not to show that too often. It's like I'm human just like anybody else. But I think in the workplace I try to be very friendly, and I think sometimes it might come across as overly friendly. I'm always the guy saying hi. I'm always the guy. Does anything upset him? And it's like, yeah, it does, but I'm just not a shithead, and I try to keep it light in the office and at work.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's totally true.
But it's like, do we all have demons? Yeah, 100%. But I just try not to drag everybody else down, and I think that's a good rule of thumb.
And Steve Bowie said, getting a word in edgewise, which is a very specific...
Oh, he wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Do I read it?
Disappointed in you, David.
Do I read it, or do you read it?
You read the next one.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Oh, no, wait. Yeah, sorry. I should have read that one. But you answer it.
No, I want you to. I already read it. You just read the next one.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Yeah, you personally.
My greatest achievement? Anytime I make a piece of music or a video that I like, that's my greatest achievement. Whatever the most recent one is.
Same.
That I really have a lot of faith and consider there to be value in. That's my greatest achievement.
Same answer.
David Bowie said discovering morning. Not morning like you're the lost one, but like the morning.
Oh, maybe he sees every day as a blank slate.
Discovering morning, okay.
I feel like he wasn't taking this interview seriously.
Okay, what is your greatest fear?
Death and the unknown. And suffering, and I'm kind of dark, man. I would say like unwarranted suffering. Like if someone's like a really good person and like an amazing person and they just get tortured to death for no reason.
That's a good one, yeah.
Like that, like I would say unwarranted suffering is my greatest worry.
That's interesting.
Being on a plane going to your honeymoon and then you get in a plane crash and you're fully aware of the crash and you see your wife ripped apart. That kind of shit. Like unwarranted suffering, I think, is the worst.
It's pretty bad.
That's some fucked up shit, man. And that's my qualm with the universe. Work on that, guys.
Mine, I think, personally, is old age. Like, old people tend to kind of freak me out.
Okay.
And
I've heard that.
Becoming old scares me more than just, like, dying. Like, I think I often think I'd be happier dying at, like, 50 in like some cool way than just like living to be 90.
Until you're 51 and you're like, oh shit, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, right.
The only thing I can offer you consolation on that, like to you guys or to Emmett directly, look up Paul Newman when he was like 85 on Leno or Letterman, and he's like, he was a guy that was really worried because he was such a good-looking younger guy, and he was a good-looking older man too. But when he was younger, he was like such a pretty boy and such a Brad Pitt type guy that he never wanted to be seen when he was old. And so after age like 65, he like wanted to hide away, but he kept getting really juicy roles.
Weird.
So he kept coming back. And then finally he came to a point where he's like, you know what? I am what I am. I'm living my life and I accept it. And look up Paul Newman when he's like in his 80s on talk shows, and you'll be a whole heck of a lot less frightened of getting old.
Okay, that's interesting. Cool. That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
David Bowie said converting kilometers to miles. So yeah, he was just being jokey.
Yeah, he's fucking around. All right, read me one more and then we'll switch over.
Okay. What historical...
Keeps going out.
Oh, I know. What historical figure do you most identify with? That's a tough one.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Fuck, I don't know. There's so many of those guys I feel like are overrated, man. They're awesome, but like they might have been cucks, you know?
Yeah.
I took a test once that said Captain Cook. And it's like,
what the fuck?
But I feel like realistically, I was probably a guy on Captain Cook's crew that was along for the adventure. Captain Cook himself, he might have been a tyrannical.
You're a pirate. That's cool.
I would say perhaps an adventurer of some kind.
Yeah.
I think had I been living in that time, and it was like 1700s, and there was opportunity for adventure, I'd probably hop on a ship. So we'll say Captain Cook, but I feel like there are guys underneath him that I would probably relate to more.
Yeah.
Historical figure, let's just go with that. Let's say Captain Cook's third-hand man.
That's pretty good.
That's me.
I don't know. I couldn't... The only historical figure that immediately comes to mind, only because I was like infatuated with him in high school, I don't think I'm like him, but I admired him a lot. This is going to sound stupid, but Alexander the Great. I was like obsessed with him in high school. I thought he was so cool. I don't think I identify with him, really. I mean, I identify with his tenacity and his how determined he was, and how he was, because I mean, like I was saying earlier, I hate the word and the idea of being quixotic, because I think if you don't consider what is realistic, then things actually become a lot better.
I agree.
And I think if everyone just stopped considering what is inevitable or realistic, then I think the world would be a better place. And I like Alexander the Great a lot because he conquered the world, or at least what effectively was the world at the time for him.
Yeah, he was a boss.
And that's so uplifting to me. That's just so fucking cool.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Yeah. I aspire to be like him. I don't identify with him. I aspire to be like him.
Totally. All right, what do we got next? Let's
see what he said.
wait, is this switching over to Bowie still? Okay.
Let's just see what his answer was. Where is it?
Bowie said Santa Claus.
Okay. Should have known.
All right, so I'm going to ask you two now.
Okay.
Which living person do you most admire?
Oh, that's a tough one. Wow.
You can't say Ben Sterick.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's pretty basic, but probably just like my mom or someone.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's beautiful.
She's a very, very kind and hardworking person.
Your mom's awesome.
I don't know, yeah.
As is my mom.
Yeah.
How about aside from mothers? Aside from family.
Okay.
Let's say, because I will say my parents as well. Like my mom and my dad I love them so much. They're amazing people, and they really shaped who I am. My mom and my dad are both great.
Shout out to our parents.
Love them so much. But let's say aside from your parents, or let's say aside from any blood relatives.
Yeah.
What's this?
Oh, it's a tough one. And aside from baby, obviously, because we're
aside from us, yeah. That's implied.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, aside from like family and friends, and
let's say a celebrity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna open this another beer, man.
Okay. I have to think about that. Celebrity. I like who the fuck's that guy who played Night Owl in Watchmen?
It's a weird choice.
I know, but it's a weird choice. I admire him because like you never see him other than when he's just in a movie. Like we're all aware of him. Like he was on like The Conjuring and shit like that. I admire that like he does work and then he's just gone. You know, like so many celebrities they soak up the spotlight, but he's like this guy.
That is cool.
The only guy I can think of. He's just he does good work. And he's like he's a decent actor.
That's cool.
But then like outside of his movies, like where is he? What is he? Who is he? You don't know anything. Like he literally just does the work and then he's gone, which is kind of what Val Kilmer tried to do, but he fucked it up.
Yeah, Kilmer was a pimp.
Yeah.
I still respect Val Kilmer.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
To this day, a very underrated actor. You know, looking at his whole filmography.
Yeah.
What was the answer? Did you finish?
Yeah.
Bowie's answer was Elvis.
It's a pretty kind of a lame answer. I don't know.
I would say, gun to my head.
I could see why he would say that.
Boy, gun to my head, aside from my parents, which living person do I admire the most? Or my uncles. My Uncle Craig I love so much, and I've never shouted him out. And my Uncle Brian as well. Two uncles that I have that I really admire, and I know they're blood relatives, but I love those guys, man. My Uncle Craig for his sense of adventure, and my Uncle Brian for his musical and movie interest. You know, he really instilled a lot of that. You met him.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Those guys meant a lot in my life, and I really care about them a lot. But in terms of people that I'm not related to, like celebrities, fuck, man. You know, it's kind of cliche, but I would say Joe Rogan. You know, it's like I think he's so different than I am, aside from being a bald white guy with a thing that some people watch. You know, he really puts himself out there, and I love his diverse background with comedy and TV show hosting and podcasting, and how he always has a proclivity to interview people of all different backgrounds. Like I love that.
Yeah.
I think Rogan's great, and I would say Norm Macdonald for his ability to not give a shit always.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald's a good one.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald is like a part of my soul, and I wish I could be a quarter of how cool he is. And
Norm Macdonald's a good one.
That's my answer. That's
a good one.
All right, do I read the next one or do you?
I do want to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I say we do. We still got 15 minutes until commercial break.
This was kind of similar. Who are your heroes in real life?
Skip it.
Yeah.
What is, you got to figure this was written in like the 1880s.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
So deplorable is like something you don't like. The part that I don't like about myself is my occasional inability to make decisions, and my lack of impulsivity control. Like I feel like sometimes I'm impulsive, and like I'll do stupid shit, and then I regret it the next day. And I feel like I'm getting a slight better handle on that, but I still feel like that's something I could work on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with myself a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Specifically financially.
100%. Yeah.
Like you get money and then you like immediately blow it because you want to have a good time, and then you're like, wait, I don't have any money. You know. Yeah. Definitely that.
So and, impulse control.
Yeah, impulse control. Yeah, mine would be the same, really. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We're fucked up.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Do I read the next one or do you?
You read it.
Wait, it says, what is the trait you most deplore in others? But I think that's kind of arguably the same.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think it's a little different, though. So what is the trait you most deplore in other people? That's different. I think that's different.
I don't know, man.
I'm just going to say rude people.
Rude people.
I would say rude people and cruel people who can't relate to people and who are just there to make hard times for other people. I hate those people.
Yeah.
Anyone who is about cruelty to other people, who is about giving a hard time to other people, they're just so out of touch. Like, fuck those people.
I agree. Yeah. Mine would be in the unwillingness to kind of form your own opinions about things, and that's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier on this podcast. I think a lot of people just do like passively soak up shit and then just like agree with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, you read the next two.
What is your favorite journey? I don't even know how to answer that.
My favorite journey, fuck. Don't stop believing, guys. You know. That's stupid.
It's a tough question. It's a weird question.
Oh, look at this baby down here.
Oh, baby.
Oh, there's a little kitty cat at our feet. Pody. That's for the in crowd. My favorite journey, legitimately, like I know some trips are better than others, you know, if you're going out of town or whatever, going on a vacation or an adventure. But I would say, as cliche and as silly as it sounds, any journey that you're having, because like you're so optimistic and you're a fish out of water and you're experiencing new things. And like I said, we were talking about time earlier. When you go out of city or out of state and you go to a new place, for whatever reason, because it's a new environment, time seems to slow down. And you seem to absorb information a little bit more slowly, and you tend to take in more details. So it's like if I've never been to, you know, just as an example, Australia, and let's say hypothetically tomorrow I were to hop a plane to Australia if I could, you know, and I spent 2 weeks there, I would remember that way more quickly than if I did 2 weeks in my regular stomping grounds. Because my brain's more engaged, you know?
Yeah, it's a good point.
So to answer the question here, I would say any trip I'm taking, I mean, unless something bad happens, obviously you're going to have a shitty time. But let's say if it's a good or at least a halfway interesting trip, I would say any trip that I'm taking that I'm stoked about, that's going to be one of my greatest journeys or one of my favorite journeys. And obviously some are more cool than others. You meet more people, you have more exciting experiences. But in general, just that excitement, I get high off that.
That's cool. That's a good one. That's really good. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Mine is, I guess, a little more metaphorical. I was going to say the journey of creating something from start to finish.
Ooh, I love that too.
It's the most...
That's a good one.
Invigorating and proud thing I can think of.
That's beautiful.
When from the inception of an idea to when it's out and everyone's seeing it, it's complete.
100%, dude. That's a very solid answer.
Thanks. Yeah.
And I gotta say, not to be a copycat Johansson, but I agree. Yeah, it's a very exciting experience to create something and to see it through. But
I guess Bowie's was kind of similar. He said the road of artistic excess.
That you and Bowie, man. Yeah. You and Bowie. I really wish Bowie was still around.
R.I.P. Bowie.
Do I read the next one or do you?
You do. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
What do you consider the most overrated virtue? Bowie said sympathy and originality. But what do you consider to be the most overrated virtue?
I don't like his answer. It's kind of... I think those are nice things.
He was probably high on blow.
Yeah, probably. Virtue.
At the time of this, Elvis was still alive. So this was pre-77. So feel free to mix it up.
I think... I gotta be careful with this one.
Overrated virtue.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I want to say, I appreciate being humble, but I think sometimes it can be a deterrence.
Yeah.
I think
it's a good answer.
I think modesty is a good quality, but I think a lot of the times it can actually, it can be a waste of time. So I think I wouldn't say it's overrated, but I think in certain situations it's helpful, and in other situations it actually hurts you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That's good. I would say sympathy and empathy in our current era as of the recording of this date, because there's so many people on any of the social media platforms who pretend to be virtuous and pretend to be sympathetic or empathetic to other people's plights.
Right, yeah.
And it seems very disingenuous, and it seems very...
it's fake sympathy is the killer.
It seems very phony, and it seems almost like they're doing it for likes and what people would call virtue signaling. And it seems like they don't really give a shit about these other people's plights, but they just want likes.
Yeah.
So I would say disingenuous sympathy and empathy.
I agree.
I think that's a negative thing. All right, all you.
Okay. What is your greatest regret?
Wasting time. I think, we've got so much time that's given to us, and I'm the master of fucking off and doing nothing and being, at times, a lazy piece of shit. But at other times, I can be very productive, as Emmett and I have done in the past, where we're highly productive. And some of the most productive times in my life has been with this guy.
Thanks, man. You too.
But there's other times where I can really be a lazy bones, as the English would say. And also, again, going back to impulsive decisions that put me in, either bad relationships or shitty situations that I could have avoided had I had better impulse control. So I would say impulse control and wasting time are my biggest regrets.
Okay, that's a good one. Mine would probably be high school.
Really?
It's a specific one, but yeah.
Why is that?
I just remember like hating it and wanting to be done with it, and then as soon as I was actually done with it, I was like, wait, that could have been really cool, but I didn't really give it a chance.
Makes sense.
You know, I don't know. I was just so.
You feel like you missed a potential opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. I was just so cynical, and I kind of hated everyone, and I kept to myself, and just
I could see that.
Waited for it to be over.
I could say I could have had more fun in high school as well. I had a good high school experience, but I could have had a great high school experience.
Yeah.
But I think that's the benefit of hindsight, is you realize, if you're lucky enough to live long enough, you can look back and say, okay, well, let's say hypothetically I didn't do what I wanted to do in high school or junior high or even my 20s or my 30s or 40s, fill in the blank. If you're still lucky enough to be alive, you can potentially make a change and do some stuff you want to do.
Yeah.
No matter what your age, fill in the blank.
Let's do one more. This one's kind of interesting. What is your most treasured possession?
Aside from the cigar, do I want to go cheesy or do I want to go nostalgic or what do I? Boy, my most treasured possession, aside from anything like physical, like my brain, like aside.
I think you could do something physical.
Well, I mean, I would say my brain just because it's my whole being, But like, but that's fucking, fuck that. That's too easy. If we're talking like what they mean when they wrote that, like an actual object. Boy, I would say probably a VHS from when I was a little kid. Any of the random ones. Like, let's say the house burns down and you have no record of anything, but you have one VHS from when you were like 6, and I'd be like, this is how I started out. And you see how your family was and how you were and like how you began this journey in life.
Yeah,
I would say a VHS as a kid. Not to be selfish, but also because you would see your mom and your dad and your family or whoever you have in your life, and you saw how you began.
Yeah.
And I would say that this was my essentially my clean slate, and then who I built upon as I got older.
Yeah, that was nice.
I would say a VHS from when I was a little kid would be my most
cool.
important.
I was kind of thinking something from when I was a little kid. Like I was obsessed with my blue blanket. I always took it everywhere, and I was very defensive about it. I was gonna say that.
You still have it?
But yeah, I still have it somewhere. It's in like a little tub somewhere.
I have a teddy bear named Matt. That was named after my cousin, who once in a while I still keep in touch with. But it was named after him. But it was a teddy bear that I adored, and I had it probably too long. I thought I was like 8, and I love that teddy bear, man.
Yeah, that's great. I was trying to think of something more practical. Like, what is the one thing when I move somewhere or whatever that I always have to like take with me and make sure it's there? And that would be my piano, my keyboard.
That's beautiful.
It was given to me by a friend of mine in high school because they were one of these families who like they kind of just had the keyboard. And it's a nice keyboard. It's like fake wood and it's weighted and everything. And they were downsizing from a house to an apartment, so he was like, we just don't have any room for this, and we don't use it that much, so here you go. And he gave it to me for free. It was a really nice keyboard. I use it constantly. I practice with it. I record with it. I do everything with it.
I've seen that keyboard.
I play on it. Yeah, so that'd probably be my keyboard. 'Cause it's the thing I get the most use out of, and it's always the one thing I'm like, I gotta have this when I move into a new place.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
Good question. You want to do one more for the fun of it? We got a little more time before a commercial. We got a little more time. Just a quick 30-second answer. Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
Let's see.
We got a little monkey time.
There's a lot of questions on this thing. Let's see.
All right, read it to me. Random, off the cuff.
Oh, this is an interesting.
Sure.
This is kind of a tough one.
Okay.
What is your current state of mind?
My current state of mind is pretty good. I would say fairly healthy compared to how I was as of this time last year. I feel like 2020, not just because of the pandemic and stuff that everyone went through, but I had personal stuff. It was a rough year, but I think I got a lot of growth out of it. It's like there was loss in multiple areas. And, family members passing away who I loved, loss of work, there was a lot of negative stuff in 2020, and as I'm sure a zillion people can back me up on, it was not the best. But weirdly enough, I found comfort in the year because opportunity came out of it. It's like, being unemployed and having loss gave me a whole different perspective. And not to be a pity party, it's like, there's people way worse off than I am. And I don't know. At the end of the day, you turn a negative into a positive, and you look at shitty stuff that happens, and you say, okay, cool, how can I move forward from this? What can I do to kind of keep myself from going crazy? Yeah. I don't know if that answered the question.
No, that's great. That's perfect. That's a good one.
But yeah, what about you?
Very thorough. Mine would probably just be a little stressed, to be honest, because I mean it's my last semester of college and there's a lot of shit to do, and I'm just like I've always hated school a lot, and I just want to make sure I get through it. So then coming out of it, I'm like I'm not sure what's going to happen. Like I don't know what's on the horizon. Like I know I want to finish school.
It's healthy though.
But yeah. So I guess it's a well placed stress. But
so as of this, I guess our mindset as of this second. Like,
yeah.
What are you
yeah.
feeling? What are you feeling?
As of this very second, I'm feeling good. I'm hanging out with baby.
Same.
We're drinking. We're smoking. I mean, yeah, I'm
Same.
feeling good in this very second. Yeah.
I think as of how I was in the past, I'm way better.
Yeah.
And I a lot of it I have to thank to you, and I have to give thanks to the people watching us as well. It's like I feel like, I don't want to be like I said, a fucking pity party where I was like, depressed and like feeling like shit. But it wasn't the best of times, and I feel like the more you focus on things that you love, the better your mindset becomes.
I couldn't agree more.
So as of right now, I'm feeling good.
Beautiful, man.
I'm feeling pretty darn good.
All right. On that lovely note, we'll go to a commercial break and we'll be right back. What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed those wonderful commercials as always.
Hey.
So, the last couple of things, the first of the last couple of things we want to talk about is this article about the PS5's biggest weakness is exposed by the PS2. And all it's about is backwards compatibility. And this is completely different from everything we've talked about on this podcast, but it's still it's an issue.
It's worth talking about.
Weird thing.
It's worth talking about. Yeah, I think
you would think. I mean, yeah, a lot of those older consoles, it was no problem, and you would think this stuff is so weird. This stuff happens with technology in general. It's not necessarily specific to video games, but it's like you gotta pay a bunch of money if you want to play like an
old game.
An old game. Or retro technology is weird. It becomes like antiquated to the point where it's cool again, and it becomes expensive.
Biggest example I can think of off the top of my head is having a PS4, or if you guys have a PS5, and then wanting to play The Punisher, which came out in like 2004, 2005, right? Whatever the date was. Let's say 15 plus years ago, and you can't. You can't download it as of this date on the the PlayStation Store, and you can't put your disc from a PS2 into a PS4 or PS5. So what do? You got to plug in your old console.
Yeah.
From literally like 2002. Yeah. Hey, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah, right, exactly.
How advanced are we that you have to plug in something that's almost old enough to drink? And then that's how you play a game when you should be able to just download it. When certain games from the same era are available for download on the Play Store.
Yeah, that's true. And the one that pops into my head is a reference is like LPs, records.
100%.
Those are all of a sudden they've become like so sought after, and you have to buy a record player. They're very expensive, and they've become like this rare fine wine.
Yeah.
When we've technically progressed way past those, but they're still like of better quality, and they're still like they're pretty hard to like actually play them.
Yeah.
Which seems so stupid, but it's funny to me that now video games are getting to that point too. Like video games are old enough. Yeah. Video games are old enough to where like, if you want to play like legit in 64 games, you need an emulator, and then even if you want to play like a PS1 or a PS2 game, you need to like you either have to get the remake or you need to actually get the console, which in itself is kind of a tough thing to do if you don't already have one. It's so silly.
Well, something as of today, Emmett and I have been playing a lot of video games today before the podcast, and we played some old Sega games on the PS4. And, you used to have the game that has like 50 classic games that you play. Yeah. And there's still a lot that are missing, but I look at that and it's like I can play these games that I grew up with that I love. But if there's a particular one, like, for instance, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Hyperstone Heist, that's a highly collectible game. You look on eBay, you can get it for, about $100, $85 to $100 around there, give or take. And that's a game I have. And it's like you could easily convert that digitally and play it in the PS4, but it's not available as of right now. And so you got to go onto eBay and you got to buy it for, hypothetically, let's say $100, and you got to plug in your old system to play it to access that game.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
It shows you how technology isn't necessarily linear.
Yeah.
It's not like this is better than this. It's like, we've discovered this other way to do it. It's not necessarily like the better thing.
Yeah.
It's just like a different way.
Yeah.
But then in turn, the other thing gets like left behind and becomes this collector's thing. It becomes very expensive. It's weird.
It's very selective.
Yeah.
It's like as I said, PS2, Punisher.
And you'd think video games shouldn't be affected by it. Like consoles should be able to play anything.
You can have everything digitized and translated over to a new system.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it almost makes me think that they do that. I'm sure a big part of it is like licensing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it almost makes you wonder, as a part of that collectability, like did they want certain titles to be collectible?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think it
frustrating.
ultimately boils down to rights and licensing.
Yeah, you're probably right. But it is very frustrating. I mean, I've had those moments too, even on my Xbox One. If I want to play like a 360 game, a lot of them don't work. And it's like, okay, well, shit.
I just wish, like this article is saying, like let's say you buy a PS5, it should be able to play PS4, PS3, PS2, PS1. You know what I mean? Like everything before it, and then some. It's like, because we have modern technology, so why is that not able to grasp something from 20 years ago?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of, so you're telling me that still PS2 to this day from 20 years ago is superior to the PS5 because I can play Punisher on it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That's weird, man.
That's how I gauge my games.
That's very odd.
It's really, it's bizarre shit. I'm sure there's an easy way around it, but like you said, there's probably some weird legal thing, licensing or something. So, what are you gonna do? But it's shitty, and it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. So hopefully, when the PS6 comes around in 6-7 years, probably sooner. Let's be real. Yeah. Hopefully they acknowledge that, but I don't know if they will.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess that's when this is the kind of thing when all the computer gamers are laughing at us because they can they're the ones who they say they can play like anything, they can download anything, and they have mods and all that stuff. The sky's the limit with computer games, but we can get a girlfriend, so there's that. And there's
just
something
kidding,
so
just kidding. We love you.
There's something so quick and easy and simple and thus fun about consoles. Like they're made to play games.
Consoles are fun.
Just turn it on and do it. You turn it off.
Computer gaming is fun, but the console, there's something like so wholesome about it.
Yeah, and computer gaming is more of an event.
Yeah,
like you can't just really casually do it. Like you really got to sit down and it's its own thing. With playing Xbox, I could play for 10-20 minutes easy. Like I play Xbox in between my classes a lot, my online classes.
Okay.
And I can do just like one round, you just like one button to turn on the Xbox and you're already in the game.
There you go.
It's so simple.
There's something about it that's like very inviting.
Yeah. I mean, computer's great in its own way, but
computer's
it's like
fun.
I feel like you need to allocate more time for it.
Yeah. And like I said, sorry to shit on you guys. Like I'm just teasing, but I know there's computer gamers. There's a whole plus to that world. You got a whole different vibe going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the last thing on this, you'll have to fill me in on this. True Crime Arizona, the Sunset Limited Train Derailment Mystery.
Okay, so this was a recent one. I posted this literally within the last 24 hours.
Okay, wow.
So what I read, feel free to to read through it. It was a terrorist attack in the mid 90s on a railway in Arizona in the US, where someone I guess set off an explosive that or at least fucked with the railroad tracks and derailed a train that killed a few people and hurt a whole heck of a lot of people. And it was just a big, I guess you'd call it a terrorist attack. And it's very underreported.
Weird.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of anything like that.
Yeah, it was, and I never had heard of it either. But look it up. But it was a really weird thing, and it was a train derailment that was caused, deliberately. And one of the passengers on board had a camera at the time, and it was like mid 90s, let's say 94, 95, something like that. I can't remember when I read it. It was pretty late when I read it. And they said, "Hey, does anyone here have a camera?" And this lady was like, "Oh, I do." Yeah. And the conductor was like, "Hey, can you come over and take pictures of this?" And they got shots of the track being fucked with. Either I don't know if it was an explosive or like some sort of hacking that they did with a metallic device to fuck up the track. But someone messed with the track and derailed it, and derailed this train and killed a few people and hurt a whole heck of a lot of people.
Holy shit.
And there were crime scene investigators who came to the site, and they said it was one of the most horrific things they've ever seen. Like, it was like, even though not that many people died, it was just like so brutal. Like the train, like on its side, like messed up.
That's such an anomaly, because it's like that's a big thing to do.
Yeah.
with such small circumstances.
And you don't hear about it.
Yeah, like it was just some people going from like Texas to Los Angeles.
Feel free to read through the highlights. Like I said, I read it fairly quickly, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. Let's talk about it. But I don't know all the ins and outs.
It looked like it was mostly just like bystanders. That's why it's so weird. Like, why would you blow these people?
People
up?
did lose their life, but it was you know, as far as I could tell, you know, nobody like political on board or nobody of any, you know, famous status. It was all just like normal people. So it seemed just like a random terrorist attack with very little reasoning behind it.
God damn. Yeah, that's really scary.
Yeah, and it's one of those weird ones that I was just like, dude, I've never heard of this, and I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah,
so
everyone
far.
said it was horrific.
Yeah.
Lots of people were injured. People died.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird ones where it's like, what? How come we never heard about that?
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of that until yesterday.
God
like,
damn.
Well, actually, technically, I sent this 10 hours ago, so as of today, yeah. I had never heard of that. Isn't that weird?
8x10 size typewritten notes were found on the ground, held down by rocks, that said the group responsible for the crime were the Sons of Gestapo. The notes said the reason why they did it was to retaliate against the FBI and ATF for their involvement in the 1993 Waco siege. Waco, yeah, sorry. Waco.
Weird, right?
Star Wars, yeah.
Waco.
The actual manifestos were signed by the Sons of Gestapo. However, to date, we still haven't been able to verify that they are an actual group.
Isn't that weird?
That's chilling.
And my thing is, like, was that just some crazy guy saying, I'm going to set some explosives off
It
next to
seems
the
like
track?
a cover. Yeah, it seems like a crazy guy who was like, I need to like make some kind of reason for this.
Anyway, I had personally, I don't know about you guys, feel free to comment, but I had never heard of this. I've never heard of any train-related terrorist attack in Arizona in the 90s. I had never heard of that, ever. I feel like that's something we should have like learned about.
Yeah, that's totally crazy. Yeah, I always whenever Arizona's usually such a safe place.
Generally,
we have some of the safest weather ever. Yeah, we have generally lower crime than a lot of other places, and you don't think about targeted attacks like this in Arizona. It's just it's weird. It seems out of place.
Yeah, but what's weird is that I'm of an age where it's like I would have heard of this,
Yeah,
and I never have. It's weird, man. I guess stuff gets lost to time and swept under the rug,
I guess there was some talk in this article about maybe they're thinking it might be a disgruntled worker who was like who worked on the track or the train.
Yeah.
But either way, like, wow, why did we not hear about this? This is huge.
So if you guys want to look it up for yourselves, it's called True Crime Arizona, the Sunset Limited Train Derailment Mystery.
That's crazy, and they still never figured it out, huh?
Yeah. So I've never heard of that, though. I've never heard of that. Like, what a strange thing.
Very bizarre.
Anyway,
Scary,
yeah, so it just goes to show you learn a new thing every day, even if it's horrific.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this has been a really fun podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have.
This was a good one, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, as always, feel free to like and subscribe if you liked what you saw. If you didn't like what you saw, do it anyway.
Yeah, and feel free to join us on Patreon. It gives us the opportunity to create more content for you guys more frequently because we still got to work,
Yep.
But please like and subscribe and remain unfazed.
Sounds good. See you guys later.
Take it easy.